the main point that I wanted to underline is the importance of dialogue between Islam and the West. And why dialogue is so important? Because there are historical difficulties between Islam and the West, and at the same time there are commonalities. We should overcome those historical difficulties. That the most recent one has been the colonialism of the Islamic world, mainly by the Western countries and powers, and also recent clashes and 9/11 and the aftermath of 9/11, Iraq, Afghanistan, and so on. After the collapse of brutal regimes in North Africa, elections have been conducted, and in a free and fair election, in most of these countries, Islamic parties gained more power. Some are saying, no, these are not Islamists, these are secular. Some are saying, no, these are fundamentalists. We should overcome this dichotomy, secularism versus fundamentalism. They are neither secular nor fundamentalists. They are people who have worked for years and years have been years and years under the suppression of dictators, and then they try to establish social connection, social network, with the real social network, not virtual, with the people in remote in remote areas of societies, rural areas, and trying to establish services for education, for health, for employment, and also capacity building for those poor people in remote areas. Now it is a better situation for dialogue. Why? Because Egyptian people now are talking. They are gaining their own dignity. They are reasserting their own identity, and they feel free from domination of Western powers, and at the same time domination from the authoritarian regime that were suppressing them for several years. What the West should do now is not again advising them why you are Islamist, because it would be counterproductive. They are Islamists, but these Islamists are committed to the democratic norm. If we imagine a triangle, at the top we can put democracy, on the right put secularism, on the left can put Islamism, and then either secularism or Islamist, they all should be committed to democratic norms. And then we should put away that cliché that secularism means democracy or Islamism means dictatorship. That is nonsense. Both, there have been instances of secularism in the history that were not democrat, they were suppressive, they were dictator, they were authoritarian. There have been those countries with Islamic ideology and at the same time not being democratic. Just look at Afghanistan during Taliban, what happened there. This is no election process, no constitution, no separation of power, provided that the Western countries change their attitude, and also Muslims should commit themselves to democratic norms. There are some Muslims that are saying that democracy is negating the God, or democracy is against the rule of the God. Okay, they should change. They should change their mind. They should change their behavior. If they wanted to rule, they should be committed to a norm of democratic norms. Then we consider religiosity in this sense, Islam, not as opposed to democracy, but it is compatible with democracy. And everybody knows there are not only one model of democracy, and there are not just one model of Islam, but there are Islamic interpretation, there are religious interpretation that can be compatible with kind of democratic models and democratic values.